Welcome to Hey That's Me, a commentary podcast. I'm Patrick Kottner.
I'm not. I'm Brian Lynch.
Oh, that would be wild if there were two of me. What a nightmare world we'd be living in.
Oh, boy. No, I wouldn't enjoy that one bit.
Brian, this is a podcast where we do audio commentaries on movies and TV shows with people who worked on them, who never got to do commentaries for them. And today we have a returning guest, a guest that I really loved talking to the first time, and we talk about a new show on this one where she was the casting director for the original cast of this show. And it's Bonnie Zane talking about NewsRadio.
NewsRadio is one of the greatest comedies of all time. I'm just going to say it.
Not a hot take at all.
Okay, good.
A good take, a correct take.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really cool to talk to her, to hear how she met all these people either before or met them in the room and like really put together such a solid group of people, not including Joe Rogan. We do get into it. She did not cast Joe Rogan, so we do not have her to blame for Joe Rogan.
He's not in the pilot. It's so
not in the pilot.
I forgot about that until we watched it.
Yeah.
By the way, speaking of Joe Rogan, I owe you an apology.
Oh, thank you.
When you were recording last week's with Noel Wells, I said that I had to work, but I was actually a guest on the Joe Rogan podcast. And now that episode's out, you know that. And I should have been honest with you.
Did you plug this show?
No, I forgot. I really...
No, that's fine. No. Honestly, Brian, that's better.
Okay, because I went on with one mission, and that's to say how wrong vaccinations are. And I completely forgot to plug this podcast. I'm going to go back next week. I will make it all about this podcast.
And now you also, I want to correct me if I'm wrong, you did go to the doctors this week and you do have polio. Is that correct?
I do, but I have polio on my terms.
Sure. Anyways, this is a very fun episode. The pilot to the show, it's one of the perfect pilots out there.
That's right. It's so hard to make a pilot. This plays like a wonderful 22-minute like a little mini play. It's wonderful. Mm-hmm. It's wonderful. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is. It's really it's really great.
You petered out.
It's really great. The show is streaming places. You can also buy the DVD. It's pretty easy to find, but I recommend watching this. And if you've never watched the show, watch the show because there's so much good stuff in this show, and I don't think it gets talked about in the way that it should be when we're talking about great sitcoms out there.
Patrick, I agree.
Thank you, Brian.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to watch, you can either get it synced up right now on one of the streaming services or just listen to this like a podcast because it's a very interesting conversation about what goes into being a casting director and how you do that for a network TV show, and how difficult that can be sometimes. All right, so we're going to count down from 3 and then say go. And on go, you press play, and it will all play at the same time.
Wow.
Here we go.
3, 2, 1, go.
NewsRadio. This might be the best cast on TV.
Yeah.
Like in the history of television. Like everybody's A plus. Like,
do you agree with that, Bonnie?
I love this cast so much.
Yeah.
Paul Simms wanted Dave Foley and only Dave Foley. And
wow.
he did everything. And NBC was never sure if that was the way to go for the lead of a show. Wow. And we had to prove it. And then he did it. Look how young he is.
I know. They all look so young in it. This is pretty soon after. When did Kids in the Hall end? Maybe 90?
This is right after Kids in the Hall ended.
Yeah.
And there might have even been a little overlap.
Oh, wow.
With the movie especially. He had to go back and forth.
Ella Joyce was replaced by Candy Alexander. So, little Dave Foley.
Where did they shoot this?
Radford.
Oh, wow. You love it. You love it there.
I love Radford. It's like home.
How did this one come about? Because you said you left Sanders.
I left Sanders
to do this,
but Paul wanted Mark Hirschfeld to do the pilot.
Mm-hmm.
Now he did the pilot during his tenure at Sanders, so he was still technically on staff at Sanders, and the pilot was shot. So I worked under Mark, and this was so long ago.
I mean, look who directed it. Crazy.
Yeah.
So Phil was attached. Well, was going to be attached. He knew he wanted Phil.
Mm-hmm.
We started reading people for all the other roles. My favorite audition story, almost of all time, is Stephen Root auditioning for NewsRadio. We had seen so many guys come in for Jimmy James, and Stephen Root came in and created Jimmy James in his audition. He just
It's so cool.
that all the weird cadence, the whole thing.
Yeah.
He just did that, and I remember I think I might have been behind. We had big cameras back then, and I might have been behind the camera, and I think I remember it like this, and it was just genius.
He had been around, but he hadn't really had the thing yet.
No,
and
he had
this
never. He was
the
that
thing.
guy.
Yeah.
And he still is kind of that guy.
He is, but
which is amazing.
yeah.
And I. To
But
this
he's got a
day-
few things where you're like NewsRadio, Barry, Office Space. Like he's got the big things that people will be like,
Yeah.
I know exactly who that is.
But he also has shown up in everything.
Everything.
Kurt Fuller.
Kurt Fuller with his bad back in this episode.
Well, let's just jump back to Jimmy James real quick. He was written very different, correct? He was more bumbling in the original
It
script.
was like everyone came in. It was. I'd have to look at the first script
Okay.
again
Mhm.
because it was 800 years ago. But I just remember the audition, the moment in the audition when he came in, and it was the craziest moment.
Yeah. We met a few weeks ago. You came to see a show at UCB that I was producing, and you were wearing a NewsRadio jacket, I think, right?
Yeah.
Parka.
Yeah, and it was
'Cause
the
it was
thing where I was
rain.
like, I love that jacket. Tell me more about that jacket.
So we, when we were shooting the show, one of the crew gifts was during El Nino, and we had one of those big El Nino years. We all got these incredible parkas,
Yeah.
and to this day, it is my raincoat. And it rained that night that I met you.
Yeah.
I wear it. It has gone all over the world with me because it's the best parka.
And it held up great.
Yeah.
Like it looks
I
great.
still have my NewsRadio bathrobe I
Oh,
wore
man.
this morning, and I have my NewsRadio parka, and I have my NewsRadio fleece that also has gone all over the world with me.
Do you keep a lot of that kind of stuff? Do you keep scripts and do you keep costumes or rap gifts? I mean,
Okay, I used to keep scripts,
yeah,
and then that just got out of hand.
untenable. Yeah.
And then scripts finally ended up not printed.
Mhm.
Right.
Show gifts, the good ones go a long way. The good duffel bags.
Sure.
I got a bicycle from Drew Carey and from
Oh,
Mad
wow.
About You, so I had two bicycles for a while.
Your career is insane because you'll just say something. I'm like, oh yeah, you worked on
Also
that
that.
massive show too.
That's Maura Tierney.
Yeah.
Oh, so this casting story was amazing. This was the famous casting
Let's hear
story.
it.
They never could cast Lisa, and it kept going and going and going. And the table read is approaching, and we don't have Lisa. So they decided, they got down to the last three to do a live audition with all three of the ladies before the table read.
Wow.
Each one of them got a dressing room to go to,
Uh-huh.
and two were dismissed, and Maura went to the table.
Wow.
So it
Oh
was
my gosh.
Mark and I had to walk around to these rooms and tell the other two that they are not getting the part, and we had to escort Maura to the table, and she walked right into the network table read.
Is that the worst moment? Like having to tell someone they didn't get
Well,
it, or
like that
that's
Of
so
course.
specific.
that was so specific.
Yeah.
I hate when people don't get it. And look,
Of course.
now we had last minute. Well, here's the big story.
Yes.
Greg Lee was a replacement for Ray Romano.
Yeah.
And Ray lost his job, I think, on the second day of the pilot.
Oh.
And they had to quickly reconfigure a character, and they put in a handyman. And I remember Greg Lee from Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego?
Oh, sure.
And I suggested him to Mark for that as a quick replacement. When they wrapped NewsRadio Forever, Paul sent Ray a invite to our party and said, "Fuck you for becoming so famous. You want to come to the rap party?"
Did he go?
No, he was shooting his show
That makes sense. Yeah.
because everybody loves Raymond.
Yeah.
So yeah, the Maura story was one of a kind. I have never had to do that again,
For
and
sure.
I'm happy I never had to do
Yeah,
that
of
again.
course.
It's never fun when someone doesn't get the part, but
I mean, the amount of pressure that must be on you where they're like, hey, tomorrow's the table read. You got to get someone. Like, and you got to get someone good.
well,
That I can't imagine having that put on you. Like, I've worked on talk shows where it's like someone bailed 2 days before or something like that. And you're like, oh, and this is the only guest and the entire show is built around this guest for this show specifically. And you're like, okay, I mean, here's some people and we'll just have to make it work. But like, that is, you're potentially signing on someone for 7 years, 8 years, you know? how do you deal with that kind of stress and pressure?
Well, I will say this. In the best case scenarios, during these worst case scenarios, you have the collaboration of your studio and network casting executives. And you become a real foxhole unit. I did a show called Gary Unmarried years ago with Jay Moore, and Jay was was signed on at the end too. It was a last minute thing, and that was, we had to get this done, and it was a determination. And we had two studios. We both had CBS and ABC studios producing it, and it was just at a certain point, it is so far above my pay grade.
Sure.
Creatively, we got there, and now it's like, how do we get him to the table read? So when you're in a position, like when I was casting, for instance, more recently than this, the Meghan Markle role on Suits was the last role of that ensemble. And we had gone through so many different women and tested so many different women. But my casting executives at USA, who are still there at UCP, is Stephen O'Neill and Brad DeLima. They were so hands-on collaborative. Like, I would just kick my shoes off, crawl on the couch, and like, what are we missing?
Yeah.
And it was, and to this day, I worked so closely with Stephen and Brad because they're the kind of people, it's not like, you fucked up, we can't, what are we going to do? It's, okay, what can we do to get this done? It's all about the greater good. So if you're fortunate enough to have the right executives that you're working with, and there's a lot of great executives to work with, I will say that. So you have these people that are collaborative, and I remember there's like oh my God.
Sorry.
I know.
Just laughing at Kurt Fuller,
Laughing at
as
Kurt
always.
Fuller. He's so great.
By the way, when we're watching this and we don't know what the show is going to be about,
Yeah.
as a viewer, I would think that maybe it would be about Kurt Fuller
Sure.
and Dave Foley's relationship.
Yeah.
Because he's so good. He's so good on Phil Hartman, the greatest.
Oh, I love.
Yeah.
I lost my train of thought, but
I'm
it was
sorry,
about
I'd help
executive.
derail it.
We're talking about execs and how they were hands-on, and it was very helpful in that case.
It's
and
very helpful
yeah.
to have there. Now, look, not all of them are
Of course.
like that,
Sure.
Yeah.
but the ones that are such a blessing for us, because there are certain things, they'll say, okay, this person is going to become available, and let's make this work. How do we make this work? And I've had in recent years, Sharon Klein would pick up the phone and call someone and say, can we just borrow him for, and when it comes from the executive and you're calling someone in Christopher Nolan's movie,
Yeah.
it works, so you have that as opposed to, oh, little old me, can I have the actor? So it's nice to have these executives that really are part of the solution.
Sure.
How often do you get someone pushed on you that you don't necessarily think is the right person?
You do.
Yeah.
You do. I
Yeah.
mean,
it's just the nature of the business.
it's the nature of
Yeah.
the business. I have a showrunner that I work with quite a bit, and I adore him, but we don't always see eye to eye.
Right.
And he loves this one actor that I don't love, and I remember I had to hire this one actor that I just don't. Lovely guy.
Yeah.
I just
not
I'm
your
not
guy.
a fan.
Yeah.
And my executive called me, and he goes, we're going to approve him, and it's going to happen, and you have to accept it. And I got a little, weepy.
Yeah.
And I said, I'm going to go for a walk. And my office was on Larchmont, and I went for a walk, and he called me, and I sat on someone's front lawn, and he talked me off of it. He goes, this happens.
Right.
It's not that, and it's not like it's my show. I
Sure.
just took it kind of personally because
Yeah.
I thought that it was a bad.
But it
Right.
is also
choice.
your show a little bit.
It is your
like
show.
you do so much, so much of these shows are because of you and the people in your office that like it is kind of your show too, You would maybe never admit that, but it's something I would say to you.
Part of it.
Yeah.
I do have the parka. I have the parka.
Yes,
So-
that's true. That's true. Well, okay, so Kurt's gone. Let's talk about Kurt really quick while he's gone.
Right.
So he
Oh,
doesn't hear
so
us
he doesn't
talking
hear
about
us?
us.
Okay.
Yeah. Had you worked with him before?
Oh,
or
I'm sure I have.
Yeah.
Because he's like every man.
Because it's also a big part in this pilot, even
Yeah.
though he doesn't come back in the
Yeah.
show. Like,
Yeah. I wanted more Kurt.
Yeah. When someone like that comes in, are you like, well, that's clearly the guy, or because there's so many guys like that, you're like, well, there's 9 guys that could do this, but he's the one in this case.
I think it usually reveals itself.
Yeah.
And it is our job to make that decision hard.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
If it was an easy decision, I wouldn't be doing my job. I love when currently I have my showrunner takes forever to make decisions, but I like when it's about having to choose between people,
Sure.
and not because he just doesn't like anyone and he has to pick one of
Yeah.
the lesser of those, or the greater of the lesser, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. How
You can edit
often-
that out.
We can't. There's
can't.
no editing. How
Speaking
often?
of no editing, Andy Dick has just
There we go. Now, did you know Andy before, or
as a comedian?
yeah? Was
Look-
this because he was on Ben Stiller
Yeah.
before this?
Yeah.
That was,
he's so sweet on this show,
yeah.
which is not what you think of when you think of Andy.
He's
Dick.
very
Like,
funny
he's
in it.
Great on it.
Yeah.
And he's super kind.
Oh, good.
He's a kind soul with, he's had his troubles.
Sure.
And it's sad, but
Yeah.
He's fantastic.
Was that someone? Did you bring him in because you knew him, or it was just
I think Paul actually had this role in mind for Andy.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
How often are you offering roles versus auditioning?
It depends on the producers.
Okay.
For instance, I work on Suits, and I work on the Suits LA now, and it's like 1% of the time.
Mhm.
Everyone auditions.
Wow.
And but it also could be someone that's auditioned in the past, because we've been doing it for so long. So sometimes people get a role from an offer because they have auditioned previously, which is a nice gift. I love that.
Yeah. Do you keep every audition tape?
Yes.
Yeah.
Huh.
I mean, it's also fun to look back on sometimes,
Well-
but also you can pull it up if you're like, well, we've already got this. This guy
Right.
already did this thing.
Well, that doesn't. With some producers it works.
Yeah.
With others it doesn't.
Yeah.
But back now it's easier. Now it's all on a in the cloud. But back then it was physically on
sure.
on tape.
Yeah.
It's so interesting to me that everybody on the cast has chemistry with Dave Foley. Isn't that weird? Like he's great with everyone. Did he have to chemistry read everyone? With
I don't
everyone?
think so.
Okay, because he's brilliant with
He's
all
just
of them.
I think
likable.
we all
Yeah.
did it
Likable
all at
guy.
the same time.
Yeah.
He chemistry with Maura because
Sure.
he read with all the ladies that day. He is a treasure.
Really is.
He
I
really
love
is.
him.
We went and saw. They did a screening of The Wrong Guy
Oh,
at
it's
Dynasty
brilliant.
Typewriter,
Mhm.
and he was there with oh my gosh, what's his name? Flaherty, Joe
Joe
Flaherty,
Joe Flaherty.
and like a whole bunch of people from the movie, and I'd never seen it, and he was just so charming
Yep.
in person too,
Yep.
and I was like, yeah, you're great.
Mhm.
He's great on Fargo. He's great. He's having like a nice
gray-haired moment.
yeah, a nice gray-haired moment right
I
now.
love him. We I remember ran into him on my birthday one night. We were all at the Blondie concert.
Wow.
We're all like rocking out. Dave is such a dear, and he's just. I remember his 50th birthday party, which was probably about 10 years ago. That a few friends put on this kind of roast for him, and Steven was there, and it was so much fun because he's so loved.
Yeah.
He's just adored.
We haven't talked about Vicky at all.
I love Vicky.
Yeah. How did you have any relationship before? Or she
No,
came in?
we met her there. She was a Broadway girl. You
Yeah.
know, she's a big song and dance girl. Still.
Yeah.
And
She's so funny. In
she's so funny. She's really got to create this character. So much of this is she helped create. They never gave her a last name ever. She was
funny. I don't
Beth,
think I
based
knew
on the
that.
Kiss song Beth,
That's very funny.
and never got a last name. And there was always a little bit of a weird rivalry between lots when we were filming between her and Kathy Griffin on Suddenly Susan.
Oh, sure.
As the
It's like a multiverse.
snarky,
Yes. Yeah.
the snarky redheads. But yeah.
Do you have any Phil stories?
I think you asked me who I was intimidated by.
Yeah.
I will probably. I think that was the first actor I was ever really intimidated by, because I would sit there and just be in awe of
Yeah.
his brilliance and how he turned anything into hilarity.
Yeah.
And I remember once we were doing a table read, and I would often read in for the roles that had yet to be cast. So I would kind of sit not at the table, I would sit behind the table and just read out the lines. And there was a one-on-one scene with an actor that had yet to be cast. It was a woman, and Bill McNeil, and I got to read one-on-one in the scene with Phil, and I was really like, I was, nothing gets me flustered like that. And I was a little flustered, but I was reading with him. I was just doing it. I keep my head down. And then we got a big laugh, and he goes, "Oh, let's try it again." He goes, "Let's try it this way." And so he starts having me work out the lines with him at the table. Wow. And I'm just he goes, "Feed it to me this way." And I'm going, this is, I was,
That's
Of course.
it was so, because there was, I was in awe of him. And this was, seasons in.
Yeah.
And I still, every time I would see him, I would just sit back and watch in awe.
And the fact that he was doing that with you, who you're not an actor on the show, you know what I mean? He was just like, no, it's better if we do it this way. And even though you're not going to be on the show, let's try it out.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
I remember that. That's one of my favorite moments.
When Lovitz came in, was that someone that they wanted to have come in, or was that someone that you guys suggested, or how?
That all came from Burlstein Gray at the time. So
Okay.
everyone was kind of under the same Burlstein Gray umbrella, and they were producing. And Lovitz kind of stepped up and said if we want to do another season, that he would step in. And I think it was hard for him.
Of course, yeah.
It was hard for everyone to kind of find their footing. I mean, they had some fun with him, but I don't think you can really recover from such a tragedy.
Of course.
And
but it is a show that's still like my friend just watched the whole thing. I think for the first time. He had never watched it all, and it's funny the whole way through, and they enjoyed it the whole way through. So even though you may not feel like they did not recover as much, it still works, which is great,
The episode where they deal with Bill having a heart attack and passing is still really funny, and then hits you at the end in the stomach with what Andy
I don't know
says.
how they got through it.
Yeah.
I don't know how they got through it.
Yeah. Also, the costumes are great too. I'm just looking at his suit, and I'm like, that suit's great. The woman in the back's outfit is great. Yeah.
So she was replaced by Candy.
Okay.
And then Joe Rogan came on.
Mm-hmm.
I was not part of the first season, so I didn't take part in that casting.
Mm-hmm.
I did not cast.
So you're not responsible for Joe Rogan. That's
good
to know.
Thank you. Thank you for putting that on the record. The set is amazing as well.
It was a great set.
Yes.
It was a great set.
There's so much business going on.
Yes.
And I think that that's important to make it feel real, It doesn't feel like a sitcom set necessarily.
Well, because you don't
really
have a
good
couch.
play.
You don't have a couch in the middle.
Yeah. It sort of also feels like the Drew Carey.
Yes.
It's got a similar vibe to that set too, which I guess makes sense because it's similar time. But
And you've written a lot of fan fiction, Patrick,
I
for
have.
Drew Carey and
It's
NewsRadio
only
teaming
Drew-
up.
Have you?
Yeah.
no, I wish. I wish.
Those were the good old days.
Yeah.
I loved working on that show.
That shows we got to get that streaming somehow. It's got to show up somewhere.
I don't know why it hasn't.
It's music.
Oh,
But that's the same reason Ed.
Yeah.
Ed is music.
Yeah.
Mhm.
We just
Drew Carey is music?
I just did a show with Dietrich Bader, and he was like, "It's all music."
Is it really?
Yeah.
And how great is Dietrich Bader?
He's the best.
I just saw him.
Yeah, really the coolest guy. Brad Gray, Bernie Bilstein.
And they both rest in peace.
Yeah.
Wow.
And now we're about to see a friend from a show we just watched is about to show up in a moment.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
We're all about to get surprised except for me.
Is
Was
Stephen
this the
Wright gonna
episode
be
No?
with Wally?
there? Oh, right.
Wall
That's
Slang shows up.
Yep.
And I didn't remember that. So it was fun to watch the Larry episode and then this back to back and be like, oh, there's Paul Simmons' name. Oh, there's Wall Slang. Like everyone just kept showing up, which is
Can I say something off the record? Or
say
As
it in
soon as the credits
2 minutes
roll.
once this is
Yeah,
done.
once we stop recording.
Okay.
But if you go to our Patreon, we'll tell you what Bonnie says.
No, we won't.
No, we won't. Absolutely not. If these guys hook up in the second episode,
That's okay.
they
So
got that
that
out
was
of the way.
so that what
That's
they
so
decided to
fast.
do was they decided Paul's thing was we're not going to do they will they or won't they.
Right.
We're just going to get it out of
It's
the way.
amazing.
And I thought it was hilarious.
Yeah.
And And they had wonderful chemistry.
Totally.
Maura Tierney is probably one of my favorite actresses, full stop. I have a weird ER obsession that because it plays every day.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so for years, I always had it on in the morning while I would get ready. And I ended up watching the entire, I want to say 800 episodes.
Yes, there's so many.
I think it was over 300 episodes.
Yeah.
Watching the whole thing a couple of times in a row during the pandemic because it was on every day.
Yeah, of course.
And I remembered how much I just, Maura blows me away.
Mm-hmm.
So the timeline was she was on ER and then left ER to come to this, or
No.
what?
This was one of her
Opposite?
first. She had done a
okay.
few. She had done a few.
So she comes into ER late. Is that
Yes,
what it is?
she comes into
okay.
ER in the last seasons.
Oh, okay.
She came on after, a lot of people had gone.
Sure. What a show.
If you go back to that, so Julie Bean's a writer now, Michelle Zenzer's a director now, like all that
So cool.
office staff.
That was good.
And
not
we're
almost so
bye.
close. We're gonna hear a secret.
Hey, what an episode.
What an episode. A great episode. Really fun. Dave Foley's so good.
Well, everybody though. I mean, everybody on that show
Everybody's
is
so-
crazy
I know.
good. Name someone you don't like on that show. Well, you
Joe
did.
Rogan.
Yeah, you did. But by the way, he's great on the show.
He is. It's a bummer.
He's really
It's a
funny.
bummer.
I mean, Andy Dick, also great on the show. Probably a
Yeah.
bummer to hang out with in real life, too.
Sure.
Oh, he's next week's guest. I'm so sorry.
Oh, no. We're
Yeah.
doing episode 7 of the Ben Stiller Show.
It's a good. Oh, they have commentary on every episode of the Ben Stiller on DVD, so they don't need us to do it.
They don't need it.
But NewsRadio is fantastic. Joe Rogan is fantastic. We're all in agreement. Vaccinations, don't get them. That's that. If you walk away anything from this episode, it's that NewsRadio is unappreciated. Vaccinations just not necessary.
Are you done saying your thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Why?
I just want to make sure. I don't want to become a part of this.
Everyone knows I'm kidding about it. I'm for all vaccinations.
You can go check out our Patreon at patreon.com/commentary. And there's a whole bunch of tiers you can join. You can literally join for $1. You can join for $5, $10. I think you can join up to $40, I think is the top one. And we will send you a lot of stuff. We will send you signed stuff and DVDs and whatnot. It's worth it. It's great. Send a few bucks our way if you've been enjoying the show. Also, send us a message if you've been enjoying the show. I like to hear from people, and I want to hear if people like things about the show, don't like things about the show. Tell us what we can change. It would be great to hear from you.
I have a note
Yeah, what is it?
that you don't leave your partner out to dry when he makes jokes about vaccinations.
I was going with the bit.
No, you were totally made me seem like now I'm crazy person.
Now?
Yeah, oh, that's true. That's my role on the show is I'm the wacky one
You're the wacky one.
with polio. That's my new character. That's my new wrinkle.
Sorry. I'm sorry to leave. I didn't mean
Whatever. You know I don't have much time left.
to. I don't know where this bit lands.
We're actually
No.
building up. We're building my character, and that polio might be the thing that kills me before Minions 3 comes out. This is good. This is all working out.
Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed the show, go join the Patreon, go leave a review on Apple Podcasts, do all that good stuff, and let us know that you're liking it. We have a fun one next week. Fun one.
Oh, it's not.
It's
Is
a
it?
fun one.
Is it Cameron Crowe? I don't want to say it all. It's Cameron Crowe.
I don't want to confirm or deny.
Okay, it might be Cameron Crowe, though.
Bye, Brian.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to Hey That's Me, a commentary podcast. This has been a That Was Just So Funny production. Your hosts have been Brian Lynch and Patrick Hotner. Music was by Alex Peabody, and our art was by Abigail Noy. You can find out more about the show by going to heythat'smepod.com and checking out our Patreon at patreon.com/commentary. The show was recorded by Stephen Ray Morris. If you've enjoyed the show, please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. Please tell your friends about this show.